Finding a cause, we're not talking about a cure, but trying to find a cause for autism is obvious. Why wouldn't you want to know the cause for an explosion in cases of autism, something that really affects, horribly affects, millions of Americans and their families? 1 in 31 children is diagnosed by the time they turn 8. That's up from 1 in 150 in 2020, a 383% increase. It's something that I want to know because when I was diagnosed with what we now know as autism, it was 1 in 1,000. So think about that. Also think about what one of my heroes, Tom Brokaw, used to say. It's not the questions that get us in trouble, it's the answers. So what's causing this spike should be the scientific question of our time. But it is not. Because up until now in science, you couldn't talk about the rise in cases of autism. Dr. Bhattacharya is the new head of the National Institutes of Health, finally told us why everyone won't talk about it.
Secretary Kennedy has asked me to, for instance, to initiate a study on autism, the cause of the rise in autism. It's a question that is at the front of the minds of so many parents across the country worried about their kids. And yet, scientific progress on this has been slow because scientists are frankly scared to ask the question.
It's stunning, right? Scientists are frankly scared to ask the question. What are they scared of? The answer? Thankfully, it doesn't scare Bhattacharya, a doctor who's already been, quote, on the wrong side of science. Bhattacharya co-authored the Great Barrington Declaration. That was back in 2020, and he made the case at that time for an end to lockdowns during COVID.
The idea is that you protect the vulnerable, people that are older, who we know that if they get infected have higher risk of death, but for everyone else, let them live their normal lives, reopen schools, resume arts, culture, and so on. The idea being that younger people, children for instance, face much higher costs from the shutdown than they do from COVID itself.
Duh. That was back in 2020. It seems so obvious now. In fact, it is science now. We would have been better opening up, especially schools. But back then, Bhattacharya got completely shellacked for saying it.
Herd immunity is achieved by protecting people from a virus, not by exposing them to it. It's scientifically and ethically problematic.
If you let infections rip, as it were, and say, let everybody get infected that's going to be able to be getting infected, and then we'll have herd immunity, quite frankly, that is nonsense.
It's a recipe for basically overwhelming the healthcare system and basically affecting everybody else's health around it, around us. You know, it's a recipe for worsening the disaster that is the U.S. response that we already see.
So the actual disaster was the U.S. response. Bhattacharya turned out to be right about COVID and lockdowns. But at the time, he got called a fringe epidemiologist. Now, he's the head of the NIH, so people don't say that anymore. But there are rumblings that researching the cause of autism is dangerous. I would submit not researching the cause of autism is far more dangerous. I tell my story of being diagnosed with autism and my dad's fight to keep me from being defined in it in a new book, Born Lucky, offering hope for parents and kids struggling with anything from autism to ADHD, mental issues, physical disabilities, bullying in school, struggling to make friends. Born Lucky comes out September 30th. You can pre-order the book at bornlucky.com. Great news. Right now, for these 3 days, Barnes & Noble is offering 25% off. And I would be honored if you come on this journey with me of the book and talking about this issue, finally being willing to discuss it publicly, openly, and honestly. We first wrote about this in War Notes. That's our free newsletter. Comes out every day at 7 p.m. The same common sense, unflinching analysis we deliver every day on the show. We're going to have an exclusive book event where you can ask questions, join the conversation, only for War Notes subscribers. So subscribe at warnotes.com for free, then buy the book. We will send you an invite to the event in October. If you've forgotten all of this, just remember, at social media, Leland Vittert. We'll see you there.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.